I've lived in 7 countries over the last couple years, and the Philippines always keeps bringing me back. But most guides about the Philippines are from people who've only stayed here for a couple of weeks in a resort. I've been here for months. I know all the tricks and tips that you need in order to thrive in the Philippines, and also the challenges that nobody talks to you about. In this video, I'm going to be talking about finding accommodation without getting ripped off, the real monthly costs, which islands are actually worth it. This is the guide I wish I had when I first arrived here. When you arrive, you normally get 30 days visa free. Extending is super easy. All you need to do is go down to the office. It will take like 45 minutes and you will get a piece of paper. They don't extend the stamp in your passport. You just go there. They give you a slip of paper and you just pay them. I think the first visa extension's like $60 or something like that, $60 or something, $50. And they just give you a paper with a 1 month extension. And then after that 1 month extension, you go back and get 2 months extension, so on and so forth. So it's super easy. You don't need to leave the country, which is fantastic. But make sure when you arrive to get a SIM card at the airport. Super important, because you're going to need signal when you arrive. When you get a taxi to your Airbnb or accommodation, you need signal. So make sure, just pay the extra cost. They are charging a little bit more, but just pay them. Get the SIM card there and then, and you can just top it up. Get the smart app. Get the smart SIM card, because you can top up on the app. Super easy. So that's I have the smart mobile provider, and they're really good. Number 2, make sure you bring a power bank. If you're going to so many small islands, sometimes they can lose power. So be mindful of that. Like Siargao, Siargao, some of these islands can lose power. So make sure you buy a decent power bank. And try and avoid flying into Manila Airport. It really does suck. I'm not going to lie. The infrastructure is terrible in Manila Airport. There's always queues, extremely busy. So if you can, maybe fly into Cebu, but maybe you might not have a choice and you have to fly into Manila, but it really does suck, that airport. And if you're flying there, you will see what I mean. If you've been to Manila Airport, put it in the comments. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Finding accommodation the smart way. This section is going to save you thousands. Everyone makes the same mistake and they use Airbnb for long-term stays. I was paying 20,000 pesos, which is roughly $350 a month, for like a studio in IT Park. And an American tourist was paying nearly double that, 500 to 600, and he was using Airbnb for the exact same apartment. What I advise you to do is use Facebook groups. Join the expat groups, join the housing groups on Facebook, chuck in a post. Hey guys, I'm going to be here for a couple months. Does anyone have a 1-bedroom apartment or a studio? And then you'll have loads of people come back to you, sending you pictures of different apartments, and loads of people will comment on the post. And make sure you drop them a message, or most of the time they will drop you a message. And then you can compare deals. You can go spend the day having a look at different places. So yeah, and you will save yourself an absolute fortune, because it's very common for them to overcharge. So make sure you haggle as well, because a lot of them are trying to get that extra buck from you. And don't put your budget on the post, because they will then give you an apartment which is at your max budget. So try and avoid putting a budget at all. Just say, I'm looking for a studio apartment, and then just compare deals. Here's a little tip for you. If you stay outside the touristy spots, for example, I'm in IT Park in Cebu, which is like a main touristy hub. If you stay just outside of that, you will be saving yourself 20 to 30% on the rent per month. If you stay on Mactan, you can cut that by half. So just be aware of that. Because you can save yourself a lot of money. The Facebook groups are really good for finding housing and accommodation. Avoid Airbnb for long term, because you are paying double. You are paying an extortionate rate. And try and stay outside the touristy spots if possible. Even if you stay just outside, you can cut that by a significant margin. My actual monthly costs. My rent is roughly 20,000 pesos, which is like $360 a month, for a studio in Cebu. To be honest, I'm actually overpaying, but I'm in IT Park, I'm in the main area. So next month, I'm actually going to find a different apartment, maybe somewhere outside of IT Park, or maybe Mactan. I'm going to have a look around. My bike cost me $116 per month for a good bike, 160cc. And also you can find the bikes on Facebook Marketplace. You should not be paying any more than 5,000 to 7,000 pesos. Anyone else charging you more than that is ripping you off, and walk away. Do not even entertain them. If you're not drinking much and you do a lot of cooking, you're going to be saving yourself a fortune. Eating out in the Philippines can cost quite a bit if you're eating out regularly and not cooking. I can comfortably live here for about $1,000 a month, easily. Local meals are roughly between $2 to $3. Western food can be between $3 to $10, depending on the place. But honestly, I don't really love the Filipino food. I prefer cooking myself. No offense to the Filipinos, but their food is heavily on the seed oils and very fatty and oily. So I rather cook myself. But the one thing I do love about the Philippines is the lechon. That's my favorite. If I was to eat anything, it would be the lechon. But other than that, I do a lot of cooking. So, but if you wanted to eat local, you can save yourself a fortune. So in comparison, in California, when I was living in California, I was spending like $40, $30 to $40 on a breakfast. So yeah, you're still saving massive amounts. So give or take, you'll be spending between, depending on sort of lifestyle, if you drink a lot. But if you don't, and you're like me, and you just do a lot of cooking, a bit of exercise, and that's really it, you can spend between $800 to $1,200. And that's being generous. I'll probably spend less than that. Rent's $300 to $400. Food's a couple $100. Transport is, my bike is 110 plus the fuel, which is nothing. Fuel is very cheap here. Let's say $20 for fuel. If you're eating out a lot or paying for someone else, maybe you might spend between $1,200 to $2,000 a month, give or take. If you want to come here long term and be like comfortable and have like good hospitals around you, I would suggest Cebu, because I was living in Siargao and they don't have any good hospitals there. Like if you hurt yourself, then they need to fly you off the island. So the thought of that scares me slightly. So if anything happens to me, I want to have good hospitals around me. So that's why I picked Cebu. And I like Cebu because you can drive or take the bus down to Dumaguete, or you can go to Bohol from Cebu Pier, which is a couple hours, and you can go to Bantayan Island. So you have so many different places located around you in such a short proximity. So it's a real great location. Siargao is the best for like surfing, island life, really chill. There's quite a lot of drunk tourists though, which I didn't really like, but the place itself is very beautiful, but I couldn't see myself staying there long term. And there's power outages, bearing in mind, so be mindful of that. Manila, personally, I would give it a skip. I'm not a massive city person. I like Cebu because it has island life as well, whereas Manila, you probably have to drive a fair few hours in order to get some form of decent beach, I can imagine. So, but I don't really like Manila as a whole. It's too busy for me, too many people. Yeah, so I wouldn't recommend Manila. And it depends what sort of person you are. If you're an island type of guy, you will love Cebu. If you're a city bloke, then go to BGC in Manila. The infrastructure reality. The Wi-Fi is not like Thailand and other places I've been to where it's been super good. Every place has phenomenal Wi-Fi. It is very hit and miss in the Philippines, so you need to pick and choose the places. Once you know which place has good Wi-Fi, you just know to go back there, but you really need to have a look around and find the best places with Wi-Fi, etc. So don't expect all the Wi-Fi to be amazing, because it really is hit and miss here. And like I said about the power outages, that can bring the Wi-Fi down as well. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But that happens mostly on the small islands. I've not had a single power outage in being in Cebu. It's been amazing. But I think because being in IT Park, it is a call center hub. So I think that's why. But if you do need 100% reliable Wi-Fi, then probably Philippines is not going to be the best place. But what I do is I just find the best places that have the best Wi-Fi and I just go back to them, But like I was saying about the Filipino food, I'm not really a big fan. It is quite unhealthy, heavy on the oils. They reuse the oil constantly, and it's very on the greasy side. And when I eat the local food constantly, I just feel very sluggish, and I don't feel overly good about myself, So yeah, I would suggest if you like cooking, do a bit of cooking, or get a girlfriend and get her to cook for you if possible. But the food safety here is generally okay. I know some people who have got really sick from the food here, but I've been in Asia for over a year now, so maybe I built up some form of tolerance. Making friends here, super easy. If you want to put yourself in, if you want to throw yourself out there, go to gyms, classes, activities, groups. You're going to meet tons of friends, locals and foreigners. The foreigners are amazing here, especially in Cebu. So friendly, so amazing. The locals are absolutely so nice, so welcoming. They embrace you with open arms and just make you feel part of the group from the immediate start. So yeah, don't worry about making friends here. It's going to be super easy. Just don't lock yourself in your room. Don't try to force yourself to be sociable. Cebu and most of the islands are safe. I've never had any problems with Cebu. I've never had any problems here in Cebu. Everyone's been so friendly to me. Zero problems. The safety is great. You know, there's lots of police on the streets anyway. So yeah, I've never had any problems. And most of the islands are pretty safe as well. But I know Manila, most of the dangerous activities, and in Mindanao, in the east or west side, that's where most of the dangerous stuff is. So don't worry about safety because it's mostly safe on the islands and outside of Manila and certain parts of Mindanao. There's a few scams you need to be aware of, and that's housing scams. They will try and rip you off and charge you double, like I spoke about in the past. And the Grab drivers and the taxi drivers can try and overcharge you. So just be aware, be aware of that. Or like the guys who are on the bikes outside the malls, they will try and get you to get on the bike. So make sure they don't overcharge you. A good tip for you is go onto Grab, get a price from Grab, and then show that to the driver and say, can you match that? That's a good tip that I can suggest for you. Also, there's dating app scams. There's a lot of the girls on dating apps who are trying to use you for money. I had one person tell me that she lived in one part of the city really far away. In fact, she was very close to me. She just wanted to pocket the difference in money. So be aware of that. I'd actually suggest not using dating apps. You don't need dating apps here. The Filipinos are so friendly, easy to approach, easy to speak to. You don't need dating apps. Don't even bother about them. Transportation, like I said, very easy. I'm renting my bike for 7k a month, 160cc Aerox, very good bike. I want to get the ADV back, so I'm gonna swap that back for the ADV. But yeah, you should not, make sure you don't pay over 7k a month for a bike here. The traffic can be a bit of a pain in the butt here in Cebu. If you're staying outside of Cebu City, it's brilliant. But if you're staying in Cebu City, yeah, the traffic can be a nightmare. So just make sure you avoid the peak traffic hours. So like 8 to 9ish, and then like 4:30 to 7ish. Avoid them times if you have a bike and you're going out, so you're not breathing in the exhaust fumes, etc., etc. But like the Philippines is great for surfing, island life, like the best island life adventure you've ever had. The Philippines is the one for that, surfing and island life. And if you're an adventurous person, this is perfect for you, because you're going to be like a kid in a playground. You just have tons to explore, tons of things to do, meeting amazing people. It's honestly fantastic. But it might not be for you if you want a solid routine, everything's working all the time, perfect Wi-Fi, world-class food. It's a bit rough around the edges, the Philippines, but I think that's why I like it so much, strangely. But it's not perfect. Power outages, Wi-Fi, sometimes the shops don't have stock. You got to remember how many islands there are, so the logistics of things is a bit crazy. So it's not perfect, but the best things in life aren't always perfect. But the friendships you can make here and the freedom and unlocking this adventurous self, it honestly is worth it. And I think it's definitely a place that you need to put on your list to check out. But if you're stuck in your home country, dreaming of leaving, I have a crypto community which I post my trades, technical analysis, my market updates. So if you'll be interested in that, the link's in my bio. I would love to have you so I can teach you to be a better crypto trader. So if you would like that and you're interested in that, then the link is in my bio. Guys, thank you for watching. Please drop me a subscribe. Please drop me a like. I would appreciate it so much. I'm going to be making more of these videos. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day and God bless.